Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's hump day. Wednesday, August 25th. How are you? I am Sally Blue Sister, and this is my turn to talk. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Again, I am Sally Blue Sister. This is my turn to talk, and today I would like to talk about how much influence does the church have on society? And in America, church and state were to be separate. But now it seems the church is in every faction of our lives. And at what point is church interference dangerous? And have we passed that point? Now, we know that the church is in politics. Okay. We know that the church is in politics. And depending upon what denomination you are or how you were raised, uh, the church could have played a very important part in your life. And I don't mean spiritually. I mean like in your life. Like you're not going to possibly eat certain food, watch certain movies, um, you know, date certain people, you know, because this is what the church said. The church said that I should do this or I should not do this. Therefore, I will or will not. But now we have the church where they are in politics and they're starting to, I'm not going to say starting to, they've been influencing politicians. Um, they've been influencing policy. And I don't know if that's such a good thing, and again, I go back to there are just so many denominations out there. People um, practice all types of religion. And religion, of course, means different things to different people. Some religion, if you're an atheist, that could be a religion of people who don't, believe in God. You know, um, you have Catholics, your Catholicism, you have Lutherans, you have Baptists, you have Methodists, and then we have our evangelical Christians, so at what point do we need to put the brakes on and tell the church, stay over there? If you want to take care of my spiritual side and help me prepare, you know, um, for Jesus coming, okay. But I don't need you to tell me who to vote for. I don't need you to tell me what clothes to wear, what school to go to, who I should talk to, who I shouldn't talk to, where I should work. You know, we have Reverend, I do believe it was Reverend Phelps, his church, the people who stand outside of funerals of military people, and boycott and picket funerals, not just funerals of servicemen and women, but children. You know, um, if you're gay, they're out there picketing, whatever. And I look at churches like that, and y- you know, you claim to be a Christian, you claim to love the Lord, you claim to love your fellow man, but look at what your actions are telling people. And one thing that um, I do believe actions speak louder than words. You know, you can tell someone anything, but I think your actions really show someone what you're about. And I just find that the church needs to take a step back. You know, I'm going to bring up vaccines again. You know, we have the church, some churches, some pastors or whatever, telling people not to get vaccinated. Now, while I am vaccinated and I plan on getting a booster, vaccinations are a personal choice, but your pastor or reverend or whomever is not a scientist. They're not your doctor. So I would have to say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to listen to you on this one. I'm going to go call my doctor. You know, I'm going to see what is best for me. I don't think a church, I don't think a church has the right to tell you what to put in your body, what not to put in your body. Again, if you want to give me that spiritual guidance, that's fine. But when a church has so much influence over people that people start to behave and act irrationally, there's a problem. You know, there is a problem. I mean, you have churches who want to influence policy and use moral authority to influence policy, but they need to clean up their own backyard. You have churches where um, have just decades of scandal, sexual abuse, rape, but yet those people who are standing in front, you know, at the pulpit on Sunday mornings, what do they do on Saturday night? And this is where I think that people, and we were talking about this a little bit yesterday on the show. This is where, you know, your common sense has to kick in. You know, this is where you have to do your own due diligence. You know, just like that young man. I want to say he was in Ohio. I could be wrong, but you can Google it. Um, his mom and dad were anti-vaxxers. When he turned and he started, you know, doing his research, and when he turned 18, he said, I'm going to get vaccinated. And he's catching up on, you know, all of his vaccines, you know, measles, mumps, chickenpox, you know, getting the flu shot. You know, his mom wasn't happy, you know, but she couldn't do anything about it. You know, she said she understood, but he decided to just look at all this because he said, every time my mom tells me not to get vaccinated, she gets so much pushback. And that's when he started to really do his due diligence on whether or not he should get vaccinated. He did his own due diligence and saw that his mom was wrong. So when he turned 18, he got vaccinated. Hello, Shy Lady, welcome. So again, I say when you allow the church to have moral authority over you and moral authority where they're influencing policy, that's where it gets dangerous. Because a church should not be telling the president of a country or whomever what policies that he should or she should invoke, whether or not abortion should be legal, whether or not gay marriage should be legal or whatever. Whether or not you agree with those things on a personal level, there's something called voting. And it's on the ballot. You go in and you vote. It will either win or pass or it won't. I don't think that a church, your pastor should, tell you what movies to watch. Years ago when Harry Potter came out, my sister-in-law said that her pastor said that they should not see Harry Potter. So she didn't see it. Now, I've never seen Harry Potter because I've just never been interested in Harry Potter. But that same sister-in-law told me that her pastor told her that she shouldn't see Training Day. When Training Day came out, I do believe that was in 1999, 2000. And I had seen Training Day. I've seen Training Day many times. And she got upset with me because I saw Training Day. And and she's telling me that her pastor said, and I'm like, I'm not going to let my pastor tell me what movie I should or should not see. Because again, I say some of the biggest abusers, in my opinion, are in the church. I don't want you to stand up, like I said before, stand up in front of me and preach to me and tell me what I should morally do on Sunday. But again, I'm going to question, what did you do Saturday night? Who were you with Saturday night? There's a reason why in the Constitution it was keeping church and state separate. Because when they come together, there's a problem. And again, with so many denominations that are out there, there's just so many. Who do you listen to? Who is right? Who is wrong? Do you listen to people of the Jewish faith? Do you listen to Baptists? Do you listen to Catholics? Do you listen to Methodists? But I will say one group of people that I tend not to listen to, and I will probably get slammed for this, are evangelical Christians. But again, it's a personal choice. So, Shy Lady, you have our topic for today. Do you have any comments you would like to make about church and state?
I believe that people should not allow, if they go to church, I don't believe they should allow a pastor to dictate their life. I think that's their personal choice to do what they want to do. If they want to see an R-rated movie, so be it. That's their choice. Like you say, a lot of these pastors do what they want to do. So the only thing that they should be doing is preaching the word of God. That's what they should be doing. If they have a church, they should be preaching the word of God. They shouldn't be telling people what they can and cannot do in their lives. There are passages in the Bible that say not to eat certain foods in the Old Testament. But in the New Testament, it says that because of Jesus' second coming, um, because of Jesus came to earth as a man, and the old is no longer accepted. We have a New Testament, and that New Testament said that everything belongs to man to eat. So some people could say the same thing. Um, well, you shouldn't eat this food or that food. So you can't tell people how to live their life. If they want to go to a certain movie or whatever, that's up to them. That's totally up to them. I think that's crossing the line, being a pastor and then dictating to people what they should see on TV or should not see. That's crossing the line, in my opinion.
Okay, but when you have people like I'm going back to the 70s, when you have people like Jim Jones, who and again, churches pop up in all different shapes, forms, whatever. You have these storefront churches, whatever, the Church of the Blue, whatever. I'm just saying whatever. But we have someone like Jim Jones who was able to command pretty much absolute authority over the majority of people who were following him. And I think a cult is like a church, and some churches are cults, where he's literally saying, kill yourself. And they do it. And just like we were talking on the show yesterday about the former guy, that you have someone who is telling people to do this and do that, and they're listening to this person. They're giving money, they're donating to this person, and that person is not using money for what he says that it was supposed to go towards. And the same thing for these churches. You have these mega churches out here who are just making bank. I mean, the pastors are just filthy rich, filthy rich. They fly around in private jets and what have you. Meanwhile, the person who's going to church, your congregation, they're trying just to scrape up $2 to put in the collection plate. And yet these people, these pastors are telling people, things like, don't get vaccinated, vote for this person, uh, don't go to that school, or, don't do this, or don't do that. And it's past being dangerous. I mean, look at Reverend Phelps and his church. Again, I say, you're supposed to be a man of God. You all are supposed to be Christians, but you're standing outside and you're picketing a funeral, and you're holding up signs saying that this person was homosexual or whatever. How is that being a Christian? How is that in line with what God is teaching us? It isn't. So I wanted to go back and say that the teenager that I was referring to, I had to look it up, was the Ohio team. His name is Ethan Lindenberger. And he got vaccinated without his parents' permission once he was old enough, acting against his mother's incorrect belief that vaccines cause autism, brain damage, and other ailments. And he says, my mother is an anti vax advocate who believes that vaccines do not benefit the health and safety of society, despite the fact such opinions have been debunked numerous times by the scientific community. And Lindenberger, and I did watch this on YouTube the other day, he said that before a Senate committee back in 2019. So, again, here you have this boy who his entire life he's listening to his mother. And he also put out a tweet saying that with all the vaccines that he has to catch up on, um he's amazed that he's even alive today. And what Ethan Lindenberger did That's the same thing that we need to do with the church. You know, you need to question what your pastor's doing. You need to question, okay, you said that we're raising money for the roof, and okay, so we got the new roof, and the roof was only $100,000, but you know the church took in 500,000. Where's the other 400,000 going? And usually, you know, if a pastor tries to deflect in terms of where money's going, what else is he telling you that's not true? While you're, you know, while he's telling you about moral authority, the church is there for your spiritual faith, you know, for you spiritually. And through the years, through history, we have seen, and I've said it before on other shows, we're missionaries. They're coming to, you know, make sure that the savages, you know about Christ and know who Jesus was, and you know, and learn how to live a good Christian life. You know, but yet at night they're sneaking into bedrooms and they're raping young girls. This has been going on for decades. This has been going on for centuries. But people still put a lot of faith in the church when it comes to them telling them how to live their life. And it's something that I just never understood. And I may get slammed for this because I'm going to say something about Catholics. The only thing that I never understood or agreed with when it came to the Catholic Church was I never understood why you would do confession. And not that you're doing confession, but you're doing confession to a human being. I'm confessing to a sinner. I'm confessing to someone else who sins. Why can't I just get on my hands and knees and just pray to God? Why can't I just confess my sins myself directly to the man upstairs? Why do I need this pastor or this priest, I'm sorry, telling me what I should or should not do or what's wrong, or you know your penance is to say, you know, 4 Hail Marys, you know, whatever. I never understood that. You know, when I pray, I take it directly to God. I don't need somebody to be the middleman.
Totally agree.
You know, so you know, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, this is just what I believe and who I believe, you know, God is. I do believe, you know, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I do believe that no matter where I am, that He is an all-seeing God. He sees what I'm doing all the time. He hears me. You know, I may not always hear Him, but He hears me. You know, and He has my back. And when lessons need to be learned and certain things happen in my life, I know that that's God telling me, you know, either you aren't living right or you shouldn't have done that or whatever. I know, but I don't need a middleman. I don't need to go to someone who is another sinner. And what's, you know, and I know it's just not priests in the Catholic Church. I know that you have, you know, your Baptist, you know, ministers and everyone, you know, in terms of sexual abuse and affairs, and you know, nuns, you know, who are doing things and what have you. I know it's in all factions of whatever religion you're part of. But this is what I'm saying. These people are sinners. And I just have a hard time with someone telling me morally what I should do or politically what I should do when you look at yourself and you probably should, you know, be in jail. You should probably be in prison. I have a problem with that. So my next question will be, why do you think the church has been able to get so much authority and influence in society? Is it because certain people or certain groups have let them in, or just they've just slowly but surely over the years they've been doing certain things, and then one day you pop up and they have all this power? I mean, look at how much power the Catholic Church has. So, I asked, when did this happen? When did this shift happen? And that's the question that I have.
I think that there's always been a strong um, influence in this country as far as the church is concerned. Because if you go back and look at the Bible, the a lot of the slave owners believed that black people descended from Ham, one of Noah's kids, and believed that we were cursed, and our curse was to be their slaves. And a lot of these slave owners were founding fathers of this country. And they justified the treatment of Black people to be attributed to their interpretation of the Bible. And that justified them creating the whole slave industry in America. So it has from my perspective, it didn't just suddenly happen like in this last couple of centuries. You can go back 400 years or more when these ideas came about.
Well, you could probably go back even more, even before the Mayflower, because even then,
Hmm.
with Native Americans, you had so-called missionaries, whatever, trying to, tame the savages and what have
Right,
you,
right. Yep,
So, and then
you're
for
right.
in terms of slavery, I don't know if it was the fact that they believed that we were descendants of Ham. I think it was just the fact that they knew that slaves could not read or write, and that's another reason why they did not want us to learn how to read and write. You learn how to read and write, get knowledge, and that's where I say, show me in the Bible where it says that we're supposed to be slaves. Show me. And they can't show you. I mean, it's almost like, the My Pillow guy, show me where there's voter fraud. Show me. And you can't show me.
Hmm.
So you know um a lot of slave owners had, you know um pastors or reverends, whatever, preachers, come to the plantation on Sunday, and slaves are supposed to sit there and listen to all about not how much God loves you, but how much God wants you to be slaves. Now, how many slaves believed it? I'm sure some of them did, but I also know that a lot of them didn't. So I don't know. The church is the church has a lot of power, and I feel that it only has as much power as people are willing to give it. If you have a minister who gets up on his pulpit every single day, like a Joel Osteen, and I used to listen to Joel Osteen until I started doing some due diligence on him. And I'm not crazy about a lot of these mega church, preachers, but I believe that a church is only as powerful as what their congregation, or however much their congregation allows them to be. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes, I think you should go to the church of self. Just on Sunday morning, wake up, you have your own church, you pray to God, you do whatever, because it's like, who do you believe? And I can go to church, and I can listen to my bishop, and listen to what he has to say, whatever. But in the end, it's like I may question some things that he said. But one thing that my bishop has never done is he has never um, been on the pulpit preaching moral authority or policy or anything like that, where you have some preachers that do. So I don't know. Welcome, Daniel. Um, so when the founding fathers, and I hate saying the founding fathers, when they, wrote the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and what have you, and they said separation of church and state, again, there was a reason why the two were not supposed to meet. And a lot of the things that are in the Constitution, it was foretold, and I don't mean foretold in the Bible. I'm talking about foretold in the Constitution. There's a reason why George Washington only served two terms. Because he said that one person should not, it wasn't supposed to be a repeat of what King George was doing. It wasn't supposed to be a repeat of England, where one person stays in power forever and ever. Then it's like a family thing. I mean, there's a reason. You know, um, as much as I look at the people who wrote the Constitution, and sometimes it sickens me because the majority of those people were slave owners. Um, at the same time, they were writing a document that was supposed to be a blueprint for our country. Hello, welcome, Angie. So I don't know. Church and state, it's just they weren't supposed to. I am good, thank you. Church and state was not supposed to you know, get together and go to prom. I mean, they're supposed to be separate. So, Daniel and Angie, we have been talking about the influence that church has on society, moral authority on policy, just church and how it affects people, or their daily lives. I was talking about how some pastors tell people what movies to watch, what movies not to see, who to vote for, um you know um try to influence policy in terms of this should be a law, or that should be a law. um you know, I'm just saying that I'm not a religious person. Okay, so when you say you're not a religious person, do you believe that there is some type of God, or are you an atheist? Or when you say you're not a religious person, you're not someone who goes to church uh, every Sunday, and you are a member of a particular denomination? I don't go to church at all. No. Okay. All right. Do you believe that there is a higher being? That there is someone higher than us? Okay. All right. And when you say you would like to think there is something, and again, before you came on, I was saying that there are so many denominations, you know, on this earth. Not just in the United States, but just period. There's just so many denominations, and whatever you perceive God to be, who do you listen to? Who do you listen to? So I say you listen to self and your common sense. But if you do listen to your pastor or your priest or your reverend or, your monk, whoever, whomever it is, um, let's see. Angie says, not so much as something to worship, but something or somewhere better we go to when our souls leave this earth. Okay. All right. Okay. I will say though, I will say that I do have a hard time and I do struggle when people say, um, and this is right after my father passed. My father passed in 2018. And I think about him every single day, literally. And I struggle with when people say, you are going to, he's in a better place. You're going to see him again, whatever. I struggle with that because I do believe that we are all going to meet up somehow, some way, with people who have gone on before us. But I have a hard time when people say they're in a better place because I'm not quite sure where that place is. So does that mean that I don't have enough faith? You know, I just don't know. How do I know that they're in a better place? I mean, they're not here anymore. I mean, to me, you would be in a better place if you're still here on earth alive where I can see you and talk to you and touch you, whatever. But when you say they're in a better place, what does that mean? And then again, there's so many different religions out there that every religion can give you a different answer. Every Jewish people may think one way. If you're Indians from India, you may think another way. You know, Catholics may think another way. Baptists. I mean, there's just so much out there. There's just so much out there that you don't know sometimes what to believe or who to believe. And hence back I circle back to, does the church have too much influence on society? And it just seems like that now it's even though the Catholic Church is very powerful, it seems that you have your evangelical Christians out there who are the ones who are kind of dictating what goes on in society, that evangelical Christians seem to, taking on the mantle of being the moral authority for what's wrong, what we should do. Um, I don't know. Okay, Daniel says nobody knows where we're going after death. The only thing we're sure of is the death. This is true. This is true. Um, that is very true. And some of the biggest hypocrites that walked on this earth. Okay, are you talking about evangelical Christians, Angie? Some of the biggest hypocrites? I'm assuming you are, but I just want to make sure. Oh, religion in general. Okay, okay, okay. You know, um, Again, I do believe in God. I do read the Bible. I do believe in the book of Revelations. That the world, you know, is going to come to an end, and this is the reason why, and what have you. Um, I do believe that God sent His Son, you know, to save us. I do believe that. But I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not one of those people who, every time someone turns around, I'm going to quote a Bible verse to you, or say, well, God said that you need to do this, or you need to do that. I think that God gave us common sense. And again, no matter who you think God is, I think we were all given common sense. And what we do with that common sense is up to us. I believe that when people are born, they are born good. I don't believe they're born racist. I don't believe that they're born that they're gonna, rob a bank or murder someone. I don't believe that. I believe that people are born good. But somewhere along the way, whether it's how we were brought up, how we were taught, um, the values that were or were not instilled in us, that's when we start to change. And that's where I think common sense needs to kick in and say, is this right? Is this wrong? Does this make sense? Should I listen to this person? Should I not listen to this person? Just because he's my pastor, does that mean that everything that he says is is true? Okay, and Daniel says, our time here on earth are numbered. This world is going to end soon. Just look at what's happening now in Afghanistan. That is true, Daniel. But if you look at the history of Afghanistan, just going back centuries, Afghanistan has always been a place that's always, even back in your biblical times, it's always been a place that has always had problems. It's always been, captured and ruled over by, one faction or another. Afghanistan has always had a problem. However, I do think that this time may be a little different. I do believe that this time for Afghanistan, it may be a little different, not because of, what Biden did or didn't do, or what the former guy did or didn't do, whatever. I just think that the times we're in, and this is where I think the book of Revelation, at least for me, the book of Revelation is kind of foretelling that, you know, things are, things are going to happen where we're going to get signs where the world is going to come to an end. And I think it's very possible in my lifetime that I will witness the end of the world. I mean, I think the world now, and Afghanistan could even be a start to Sodom and Gomorrah. Thank you, Angie. That Afghanistan could be the Sodom and Gomorrah. That when God said, told Lot, don't look back, because you're going to turn. And his wife looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. She turned into a pillar of salt. So, I think that Afghanistan is a foretelling uh, to what could possibly happen in the very near future. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. Here I am saying I don't quote Bible verses, but technically I did not quote a Bible verse. I was telling a bit of a story about Sodom and Gomorrah. So, but yeah. So does anyone have anything that they want to add or say? Let's see. Angie says, I'm an anxious person anyway, and right now, and everything that's going on is definitely heightening my anxiety. Okay, so Angie, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that. Um, when you say heighten your anxiety, is there anything specific that's going on? Are you talking about politically, morally, with the pandemic? When you say heighten your anxiety in terms of the end of the world is coming or something even worse is going to happen than the pandemic, I mean, what do you mean? And I invite you if you would like to come on to talk. Okay, I'm just waiting for her to respond. Everything just now, think war is coming and COVID. Okay, so One thing that the United States has always been, well, not always, but has been fortunate in, is with the exception of the Civil War, we have not had um, war in this country since the Civil War. We haven't had um, people come and invade where we actually had war, where soldiers and what have you are actually fighting. Yes, we had 9/11, but we haven't had war. So, Angie, I'm going to ask you, do you think that there's a possibility that when you say war is coming, are you talking about a war like that where we'll see it here in this country, or you think that there's going to be another world war? There's going to be World War III. What do you think? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just um, having a conversation off of your comments. Okay, so let me ask this. I think Afghanistan is going to trigger other things. Okay, all right. Does anyone else agree with Angie, or disagree, or want to add to that? Because I think that the pandemic alone has, you sit back and you look, the pandemic alone has triggered so many, different things that have been in the negative. Um, you know, um, the pandemic, I think the pandemic did a couple of things. I think the pandemic highlighted, and I don't know if you want to say this is in a good way or in a bad way. It highlighted the disparity, excuse me, between the haves and the have-nots. I think that the pandemic showed us that essential workers are essential and we should respect them. You know, as I was saying the other day on one of the shows, I can't remember, that these people, who work in the service industry are important. You know, we should not take doctors and nurses for granted when they're working double shifts to try to keep these people alive. And even still in the hospitals, you know um um don't take for granted the person who's coming along with that cart, and they have a broom and waste pan, and they're sweeping up after people. They're equally important, just as important as the doctors. So I think that's one thing that the pandemic did. I think the pandemic also, in a good way, allowed people to, people were home, a lot of people lost their jobs, whatever, but, people were home. And I think it gave people a chance to sit back and say, all those years that they said, one day I'm going to do this, one day I'm going to do this, I'm going to start this, I'm going to start my own business. It gave them the opportunity to do it. And some people have done it and they've been successful. I think that's been a good thing in terms of the pandemic. But at the same time, the pandemic also brought out the good in people, and it brought out the worst of people. And I'm looking at people who, are, if you don't want to wear a mask, okay, that's fine. But do you have to threaten to assassinate a governor because of a mask mandate? Really? So those are things that I think have been leftovers from the pandemic. And again, the pandemic, it was foretold in the book of Revelation. Wars were foretold. So all of this stuff is building up. And I don't know if we're just going to have one knockdown, drag out World War III, and then it's over with. Where someone this side shoots off a cannon, this side shoots off, throws a grenade, and this side plants a bomb, and boom, it all goes up together, and that's it. The world is like gone. Okay, and Daniel says, if there's something this pandemic has taught me is that we're all equals. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, rich, or poor. I would agree with you in theory, Daniel, that we are supposed to be all equals, but I think this pandemic has also shown the inequality of this earth. I think it's also highlighted the inequalities of this earth. But yes, I do believe in theory, yes, that we are all equals. Um, and then let's talk about rich and poor. I think the pandemic has also highlighted the haves and the have nots. And going back to what we were talking about yesterday with Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, wanting to go to Mars or the moon or wherever it is. I mean, again, it shows what the haves can do and the knots can't. And it's like, again, I say, you have all this money and this is what you're spending your money on, when we have all these other issues that are going on. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So, Shy Lady, I always come to you because you always have an opinion. Do you want to voice anything? You agree with me, disagree with me, or
Um, the pandemic has been very interesting, and I don't think, like you had said the other day, I don't think it's ever going to go away. It has definitely made an impact on the whole world, not just with the people that have contracted it and died, but
Mhm.
just the way corporations have people working from home. And I'm trying to tie this in back to the conversation that we had about church and state. But, and I think we got into a conversation about Afghanistan. And I want to say that this is kind of, or sort of like what we've been talking about the last few minutes, but this whole Afghanistan thing has really, really made me go, hmm. And I really feel bad for those people over there, and for the servicemen and women who are over there serving on our behalf. And I'm just like not sure where this is leading. Also, as far as a war, I am disgusted beyond measure at the military weapons that we supplied to that country, only to see it in the hands of the Taliban. That is disgusting. That we have allowed and equipped that country with our military weapons like that. That's and then we're now sort of pulling back. I don't know. I don't know about that. The
you
whole
know,
situation just is disturbing.
you know, um, okay, now we're talking about Afghanistan again, but again, that's what discussions do. They evolve. This is my view on Afghanistan. I have never served in the military. Um, I appreciate and I give props to everyone who does. But I will say this: it was a war that we never should have been in the first place. My opinion. Okay, but I do think that after bin Laden was killed, that was when we should have started to pull back. That's when we should have started to pack up our bags and slowly start to go home. Um, Again, I go back and I look at Afghanistan, and they've always been a country that has always had some type of turmoil, some type of strife. Someone was always invading them, or whatever. And this again, this goes back to biblical times. They've always just been a country that could never seem to get it together. And where I'm having the problem is that the United States has been over there for 20 years. 20 years where your father could have served and now you're serving. And had we stayed over there, it's possible it could have been another 20 years. And then you find that your grandson is serving, and I have a problem that, why is it up to the United States to do everything? Why do we have to go in and save everyone when people here in this country need saving? There are people here in this country who need help. And Shy Lady, like you just said, that all that military equipment, high end military equipment that the Afghan people never would have been able to afford, never would have been able to get, are now in the hands of the Taliban because of the way we left. Now, um, again, looking at, we were there for 20 years. In 20 years, the Afghan army, they couldn't, I mean, what happened? Why are you not defending your country? Why are you, not at the Kabul airport or wherever they are, trying to leave, whatever? Why are you not there helping to defend them? That's one of the major problems that I have. You have the president, the Afghan president. He left the country. And yet everyone is saying, well, the United States should have done this. The United States should have done this. Biden should have done this. Biden should have done that. I wouldn't want to be Biden at all, because either way, he was in a lose-lose situation. Either way, ever since we went over there, my opinion, again, we were in a lose-lose situation no matter who was sitting in the White House. Whenever you decided to withdraw, it was going to be a shitstorm. It was no easy way to do it. So that's what I think. And again, why do we have to do everything? Right now, I do know that there are some Afghan people who are in Germany now, and they're waiting, I guess, to get processed or whatever the process is, for them to come to America. Okay, why do they have to come to America? Can they not go to Europe, to the UK? Can they not go to Italy, France, Spain, somewhere? So coming to the UK too, but where is the Afghan government? Where is the Afghan government? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So people may agree with me. They may disagree with what I've said, but I don't know. It just seems like if it's not one thing, it's something else, and it always just seems like that America is always the one who's asked to step up. But I don't see too many people, too many countries coming to the aid of the United States. And with the pandemic, every country is impacted. Every country has its problems, but Afghanistan, I've heard some Afghan people coming to Brazil. Okay, so Daniel, are you in Brazil, or where are you located, if I can ask? Brazil. Okay. Okay. So and now you have the Taliban, even though the whole thing was, Biden said that he was going to have everyone out by the 31st. The Taliban said that there were not going to be any more extensions, that if people are not out by the 31st, and so sad, too bad. And now they're not even letting Afghan people, if they're at the airport, they're saying that you all are not leaving. You're not leaving at all. So I guess they need people who they can harass and you know, beat up and what have you. But I don't know. I think Afghanistan, like Angie said, I think that Afghanistan with what's going on over there, we may see some things happen across across the globe on planet Earth. Who knows? Maybe we should all move to the moon, like 100-year-old chemist was talking about yesterday. All by plots on the moon or Mars or whatever. But um, I don't know. I don't know. But you guys, thank you so much for listening to me. I know sometimes I can rant and go on and on and on. Angie says, I'll go for that. Angie, I'm sorry. Last night I was thinking about the show yesterday and I just started laughing. I can't go to the moon. I'm sorry. I am a planet Earth girl. if if I end up, seeing the end of the earth, whatever, I could move. I would move to Mars. Okay, Daniel, you and Angie, you all put on your spacesuits and you all go float around the hemisphere or space, whatever. Not at all. It's refreshing to have something decent on Podbean. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've only been on Podbean. I think it's been almost a month. Pretty soon. I was doing my shows on Zoom and posting them on YouTube before. But I just have to get my audience up. But thank you, Daniel. So I try to thank you, Shy Lady, as always. I try to talk about things that other people don't want to talk about, and um, I know that just from what people leave in my Twitter messaging, that I know that I'm pissing some people off. They may not come on the show, but they do listen to it. So I guess if I'm pissing somebody off, then I must be doing a good job. But if anyone ever has any suggestions on a show that you would like for me to do, I'm always willing to listen, always willing to do it. It's only an hour, whatever. And and I don't always like to talk about politics, race, and things like that. But sometimes it just always evolves into that. I want to talk about something fun too. So if anybody has any suggestions, let me know, and I will be more than willing to do a show on it. But I am at an hour. And again, like I say, I know people have things to do. I am Solid Blue Sister. This is my turn to talk. Always speak your truth, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming. Bye. And that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.